Hello everyone and welcome to the Monster in My Pocket Redraw special. About a year ago, I looked at the Monster in My Pocket toys. You remember those rubber toys that contained very strange depictions of monsters that were potentially offensive? Yeah, those ones. Well, over the past year, I have been working on redesigning most of the monsters in this series, and today, I think I'm finally ready to show you guys. But before we get in, as always, I have a few ground rules. Or disclaimers, whatever. Number one, I did not redraw every monster in this series. I didn't draw ones that were just humans, aka the male voodoo priest. I still don't know why that was there. And the ghost of the real person. I still don't know why that was a toy. That's kind of messed up. Oh, I also didn't redraw monsters that I also did not redraw any of the Hindu deities, and there were some monsters who I didn't redesign because every single design I could come up with just looked bad. So if you notice a monster's missing, the third one's the most likely reason why if it doesn't fit in the other two. Number two, we got depictions of demons if that's something that makes you uncomfortable. And number three, this video is not going to be entirely narrated. I'll only be narrating drawings where I feel like I have to explain something. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So for this one, I decided to keep a relatively similar base design, just make him look more demonic. And also I replaced his hands with more heads. So, yeah. For the Griffin, I decided to do a bit of an update. Make kind of a more realistic Griffin. So I got rid of its front legs and replaced them with wings, and its lion tail is now a trail of feathers. So, what do you guys think of my realistic Griffin? So, since a T-Rex was in this series for no reason, I decided to turn it into a monster. Making it a Godzilla knockoff would have been too obvious, so I made it a more geological creature. It's a rock monster in the shape of a theropod dinosaur, with gemstones attached to its body. I don't know, I think it looks good. What do you guys think? Since in my Tengu video I already drew the typical red person with long nose, I decided for this one to do a more classic Tengu, in that it's an anthro bird instead. I don't know, what do you guys think? I'm gonna stop asking that, just tell me what you guys think of all the unconventional redesigns. So, yeah. Okay, this isn't a design thing, but funny story, after I made my video, I found out that on Wikipedia, the article for this toy series has been updated, and now I finally found out who this is. I forgot his name, but apparently Norse mythology does have a multi-headed troll person. So, ugh. Frankenstein's monster, I just modeled him after his book counterpart, so there's that. Now, since Karnak is a mostly original monster who's only vaguely inspired by a minor Egyptian deity, I decided to completely rework him into a fictional mythical creature. So, in my redesign, I made him kind of like a dream demon who carries skulls around that suck positive dreams out of people's head and replaces them with negative dreams. What do you guys think? Also, I made him a hippo head because that's the closest thing to what I think they're going for of his head in the original drawing. At Oblepus, I decided to do a more unconventional take. Usually he's portrayed as having his head always low to the ground, but in my design I decided to instead make it so that his petrifying eyes are covered by a mop of hair. Now for Hanover, since it's based on a knick-knack toy and not a real monster, I decided to make a monster out of it. This is my interpretation of Hanover, an amphibious monster capable of crawling on land with sharp shark-like teeth that's able to bury itself in the sand. What do you guys think? For this one, I decided to draw the two different versions of Gorgons. On the left, we have how Gorgons are usually portrayed nowadays, and on the left, we have how Gorgons were usually portrayed in actual Greek folklore. Here we have a photo of goblins and elves finally making peace after centuries of rivalry. This is pretty much an alternate take on the story of Sinbad, where instead of just escaping from the rock's nest, he ends up capturing the rock and making it a steed. I don't know, I just thought it sounded cool. I still know nothing about Phantom of the Opera. I originally considered leaving this drawing blank, but I thought that would have been too much of a cop out. I am never drawing a skeleton again. You've heard of candy witches, but have you ever heard of soda warlocks? For the Loch Ness Monster, I decided instead of just making her a plesiosaur, to make her a draconic creature that only vaguely resembles a plesiosaur. Alright, for this one, I decided to, instead of just drawing the Grim Reaper like is portrayed on the card, I decided to make my own interpretation of a specter. This is a sort of false Grim Reaper, in that he looks like him, but he's not him. Instead of giving you eternal peace, he devours your soul, completely erasing you from existence. I hate drawing horses. Also, this is canon. So for the Harry Bogart, I decided to give it a bag around its head. My idea is, his face is so horrifying that anyone who sees it will immediately die of fright, so he has to wear the bag over his head at all times. Oh yeah, I also drew the monsters that are only rumored to have been considered. Here we have Basilac, the dog-headed thing, and an electric monster, which I decided to make its own thing instead of basing it on the book it's named after. Yes, I'm aware he looks like a character from that Yes, I am aware he looks like a character from that one comic. Now shut up. I decided to mostly draw him accurate, but I gave him a spider tattoo to reference how they betrayed him in the toy line. Well, it's all for the mainline monsters, and I didn't do the dinosaurs or the bugs, since I basically do that with my YouTube thumbnail. But there was the seventh series, which dealt with original creations that were aliens. So I decided to take my hand into the ring and decided to draw them. But I decided to do something different. I only looked at their names. I did not look up any pictures of their toys. I only looked at their names and drew something based on that alone. So, let's look into my designs. So for this guy, I decided that instead of making him a T-Rex or another stock dinosaur, I decided to make him a Therizinosaurus instead. But I also decided to design him the same way a toy designer in the 90s would. So he has a rounded face, no feathers, and overall just looks very cartoony. Now this guy's name didn't strike me as the name of like a superhero or someone who goes out and fights. Rather, I decided to make him kind of like the man in the chair. You know, like Mission Control, sort of. For this guy, I pretty much combined He-Man and Buzz Lightyear. So, there's that. This guy was fun. I decided to draw him as a guy who gets more powerful as the moon gets more filled in. So on new moons, he's practically worthless. Crescents, he's a little better. Half moon, he's pretty strong. But on full moons, ho 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 ho, you do not want to be around him on a full moon. This guy made him able to absorb heat from stars in order to send them back as a concentrated energy attack. This guy, he's a big cyborg who can eat pretty much anything. Now this name didn't strike me as like something you name a character, it sounded more like a name given to a mass-produced army of robots, so that's what I decided to go with. They're tiny security drones that are able to fire lasers from their sides, and they have alarms to alert people. Now for this guy, I decided to give him the power to charge up punches. The more he charges up, the more powerful. And when he charges up all the way, his punch is just as powerful as an asteroid strike, hence his name. For her, I decided to make her a sort of seductress type villain. Basically, she lures you in with her pretty appearance, but when you get close enough, her face opens up, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth, and then she devours you. For this, I pretty much made an anthropomorphic black hole. He has the power to open up his gut and suck anything in, and nothing can escape, not even light. For this guy, I decided to make a monster that lives in meteors and is able to steer them wherever he wants. Unfortunately, he likes to steer them near populated planets a lot. For this guy, he's a celestial scorpion whose sting injects you with pure solar radiation, vaporizing you instantly. For him, I made him a creature from Saturn who strips planets of all of their natural resources in order to fill his stomach. This guy is very dangerous. He injects stars with the sort of gaseous substance that causes them to go supernova earlier than they were supposed to. This guy pretty much took a gray alien and put it in Mad Max gear. This guy doesn't sound like much of a fighter, so instead I made him sorta like a joke villain, like one of the guys they fight in superhero TV shows before they get to the real threat. Yeah, that's pretty much what I made him. He's more of a con artist than a true villain. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was quite fun. Tell me what your favorite monster redesign was in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.